Droxford's role in D-Day, 1944. A letter from a young girl to her elderly aunt once the blanket of tight secrecy had been lifted. Droxford is a small village in Hampshire's Meon Valley, about 12 miles north of Portsmouth and Southampton, near to England's south coast. The whole of this area had been declared a restricted military zone. There are still markings on some walls showing where particular units of the Allies' D-Day invasion forces had been encamped, camouflaged and hidden in woodlands. Droxford, Hampshire, Sunday, 3rd September 1944. My dear Auntie, here is a letter I promised to write telling you what happened at Droxford just before D-Day. For many weeks before invasion, we were turned into one huge base for our armed forces. Wherever we went, there were signs of great activity. Camps were made in all the woods in the district, and tanks, ducks, guns and ammunition were parked in all the roads and under all the trees. Then we found out that Montgomery had his headquarters nearby at Grenville Hall, the old racecourse. The Supreme HQ, Eisenhower's HQ, was nearby at Southwark Park. We hated to hear the siren those days because we felt that perhaps the Hun might know that our district was worth bombing. We all thought that great things were about to happen. On the Friday before D-Day, a special train came into Droxford Station, and all the approaches to the station were guarded by troops and guns. The train was drawn into the siding by the bridge we crossed to go over the fields to Droxford village. It had brought Mr. Churchill, General Smuts, and the chiefs of our armed forces, and there was a conference with Eisenhower and Montgomery. Then the news came that Rome had fallen, and the next thing we knew was that a war cabinet meeting was being held at Droxford in the special train. Eden, Bevan, Walton, Bomber Harris, and all who had to do with arranging the invasion. The whole place seemed alive with important personages. General Smuts and several of the ministers took walks through our village, but Mr. Churchill was only seen taking his exercise along the railway track in front of our house. On Sunday 4th of June, unseen by us, General de Gaulle, the future French leader, was flown from Algiers via London to meet with Mr. Churchill on the train at Droxford. In addition to all the bigwigs, there were numerous black-coated and smart lady secretaries. They all lived on the train, which stayed from the Friday until the Sunday before D-Day. Mr. Houghton, the little farmer living opposite us, was ordered to deliver milk to the train, and each time he took it to Droxford Station, an armed guard met him and escorted him along the track to this train. He was very proud of himself. On the Monday, everything seemed to be moving, and at about 10 p.m, great towing planes came over towing gliders. There were hundreds of them, and all had their lights on and were heading southeast from here. I went into father and told him I thought the invasion had started, and he said, if so, it will be Fécamp or Cherbourg. He wasn't far wrong. At 2 a.m, or thereabouts, I saw big planes coming back without the gliders, so I felt sure we had started the invasion. I listened to the wireless at 7 a.m. and heard it had. It was terribly exciting, and all during D-Day we had hundreds of planes going over with airborne troops. We were certainly in the front seats, and were expecting to be bombed, and could not believe it possible that the Hun would not try and disrupt our supply route. But as you know, we did not get anything. There is no doubt that the word go was given from Little Droxford Station, so you can see how important we were. Now, of course, things are very quiet. Except for convoys going through on the way to the coast, we have nothing around, and we are once again the quiet little village. With the Hun being pushed back and back from the Channel coast, which will be quite free from air raid soon. Last Sunday morning at 7:30 a.m, the alert sounded, and there were 2 explosions which shook the house. Since then, things have been quiet. Love to you all from Father and your affectionate niece. Copyright 2014-2019 www.hemyockcastle.uk. All rights reserved.